we are in the nation's capital, where the Senate has stepped down President Buhari's request to approve 22.7 trillion naira of Ways and Means advances. The decision to suspend the request was sequel to a rowdy session carried out by lawmakers who opposed the request and described it as unconstitutional. National Assembly correspondent T.J. Swadewi reports.
Wednesday's plenary at the Upper Legislative Chamber turned rowdy when it was time to consider its Finance Committee's report on Mr. President's request of 22.7 trillion naira and an additional 1 trillion naira for Ways and Means advances. President Buhari had, in a letter to the Senate last week, explained that the Ways and Means advances by the Central Bank of Nigeria to the federal government has been a funding option to the federal government to cater for short-term or emergency finance to fund delayed government expected cash receipts of fiscal deficit.
That these Senate do receive and consider the report of the Senate Committee on Finance on the report of restructuring of Ways and Means advances 2023. Mr. President, distinguished colleague, I so move.
The lawmakers made reference to their standing rules, the Constitution, and the CBN Act, arguing that the committee's report does not contain the details for which the monies will be expended and as such should be considered unconstitutional.
I don't know where the law comes from, where we have to spend money or restructure expenditures through Ways and Means.
Mr. President, it will be an abuse of our personal selves and against our privilege that we come here and it was requested that we have spent this money on behalf of Nigerians.
After an executive session, the Senate stepped down Mr. President's request for further legislative scrutiny, only permitting 819 billion naira to fund the 2022 supplementary budget.
It is only right that, having agreed at the closed session, that we take it as we agreed in the closed session. And the understanding in the closed session was that the 819 will be excised.
The Senate urged the relevant agencies, including the Central Bank of Nigeria, to appear before its committee with its necessary documents of expenditure for further scrutiny and legislative action. T.J. Swadewi, TVC News, Abuja.
And the Senate has asked the Central Bank of Nigeria to extend its deadline for the implementation of the cash withdrawal policy to the 31st of June 2023. The resolution followed a point of order raised by the lawmaker representing Borno South Senatorial District, Senator Ali Ndume. The lawmaker is seeking extension of time because he believes the time frame for the implementation of the policy is too short and could inflict hardship on the masses if due diligence is not done. His observation earned the support of other lawmakers who agreed with his views and urged the Apex Bank to consider the time extension.
Convinced that if the withdrawal of all notes from circulation is not extended beyond 31st, many Nigerians will be thrown into hardship, and to avoid the repeat of 1984 experience withdrawal of all notes, accordingly resolved to urge the Central Bank to urgently extend the withdrawal date from 31st January to 31st June 2023.
The majority of our people live in rural areas where there are no banks and there are no even POS. So it is appropriate to extend the time as suggested in the motion.
From 31st January to June 31st, 2023, say aye. Aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it.
And the Senate has passed the 21.82 trillion naira appropriation bill for the year 2023. The Senate also approved the sum of 819 billion naira as supplementary budget, as well as the finance bill for the year 2022. The passage followed the presentation of reports by the relevant Senate committees of the Upper Legislative Chamber. National Assembly correspondent T.J. Swadewi reports.
A busy day for lawmakers as they put finishing touches to all fiscal documents on their desk before shutting down legislative activities for the year. On the day's other paper, is the consideration and approval of the 2022 Supplementary Budget, Finance Act 2022, transmission of the federal government's power company budget for the year 2022, the 2023 budget for the Federal Inland Revenue Service, and the 2023 Appropriation Bill. 819 billion naira was approved as supplementary budget for the year 2022, while 21.82 trillion naira was approved as national budget for the year 2023 after a clause-by-clause consideration in the Committee of Supply.
I think immediately the budget is passed, pending when the funds will start coming into the coffers of agencies or MDs or ministries. This will allow for the quick implementation, expedited implementation process of our budget.
Total is 819 billion 536 million 937,813 naira only. Those in favor that this schedule stand part of the bill say aye. Those against say nay, the ayes have it.
All fiscal reports got the Senate's approval, including the Finance Bill, which lawmakers say will help the implementation of the 2023 budget.
More importantly, I can see that these projects that is being proposed, the capital projects, are projects that will help in guaranteeing security and improving the socio-economic development of rural areas.
The Senate also amended the 2022 Appropriation Act to extend the implementation year from the 31st of December 2022 to the 31st of March 2023. The day's business is done and dusted, and lawmakers make their way back home to resume legislative activities on the 17th of January 2023. TJ Swadeoye, TVC News, Abuja.